Irish stew, a humble yet profoundly evocative meal, is more than just a culinary staple. It is a living testament to the resilience, ingenuity, and spirit of the Irish people. It is the taste of home, the flavor of resilience, a dish born of necessity, yet elevated by the love and care of those who have passed it down through generations. To understand the Irish stew is to understand the Irish people themselves, steadfast, resourceful, and deeply connected to the land. To fully appreciate Irish stew, one must first understand Ireland itself, a land of breathtaking beauty, but also one that has endured great trials. The dish traces its roots back to the early medieval period, when Ireland was a land of clan-based societies, reliant on livestock and agriculture. The Celts, who inhabited Ireland long before the arrival of Christianity, were skilled herders, and sheep were among their most valuable assets. These animals provided wool for clothing, milk for sustenance, and, when necessary, meat for nourishment. In those early days, food was prepared over open fires in large cauldrons, where ingredients simmered for hours, allowing flavors to meld into rich, warming stews. The earliest versions of Irish stew likely consisted of whatever was readily available: mutton from aging sheep, wild herbs for seasoning, and root vegetables pulled from the land. With no luxury of waste, every part of the animal was used, and slow cooking made even the toughest cuts tender and flavorful. At its heart, Irish stew is a dish defined by its simplicity. The core ingredients, meat, potatoes, onions, and water, reflect a time when food was sustenance rather than luxury. Unlike the elaborate feasts of medieval lords, this was the food of the working class, of farmers and laborers who needed a meal that was nourishing, filling, and made from ingredients readily available in Ireland's often unforgiving climate. Mutton, the traditional meat of choice, was not the most tender or prized cut, but was favored for its abundance. Unlike lamb, which was reserved for special occasions, mutton came from older sheep, offering a deep, robust flavor that required slow cooking to soften. Onions, which grew well in Ireland's soil, provided a savory base, while the arrival of potatoes in the 16th century transformed Irish cuisine forever. Potatoes, easy to cultivate and incredibly sustaining, soon became a staple in the Irish diet and found their place in the pot alongside meat and onions. Over time, carrots, parsnips, and parsley were added, creating a dish that was as nourishing as it was comforting. Perhaps no period in Irish history had a greater impact on its food culture than the Great Famine of the mid-19th century. The blight that devastated Ireland's potato crops led to widespread starvation, forcing millions to either perish or seek new lives abroad. The famine reshaped Ireland's relationship with food, reinforcing a deep reverence for simple, wholesome meals that could be relied upon in times of hardship. Irish stew became a dish of survival, a meal that, with just a few ingredients, could sustain a family. Those who emigrated, particularly to the United States, Canada, and Australia, carried the tradition with them, ensuring that Irish stew remained a cherished connection to their homeland. Even today, in Irish pubs and kitchens across the world, a bowl of Irish stew is more than just food. It is a symbol of endurance, of shared history, and of the unbreakable ties between the Irish and their heritage. While the traditional version remains beloved, modern interpretations of Irish stew have evolved, adapting to contemporary tastes and ingredients. Some variations incorporate beef instead of mutton, a shift influenced by changes in agricultural practices and availability. Others introduce Guinness stout, adding a rich depth of flavor that complements the meat and vegetables. In some regions, barley is included, enhancing the stew's heartiness and nutritional value. Despite these adaptations, the essence of Irish stew remains unchanged, a dish meant to warm the soul as much as the body. Whether served in a rustic countryside pub alongside a pint of stout, or presented in a refined culinary setting with artisanal bread, the spirit of Irish stew endures. The beauty of Irish stew lies not only in its taste, but in the emotions it evokes. For many, it is a dish that recalls childhood, the scent of broth simmering on a cold day, and the warmth of family gathered around a kitchen table. For the Irish diaspora, it is a culinary touchstone, a taste of home no matter how far they may be from the land of their ancestors. In a world that often moves too fast, Irish stew reminds us of the power of simplicity, of the beauty in slow-cooked meals that have stood the test of time. It is a dish that speaks of perseverance and gratitude, of the wisdom found in making the most of what the land provides. And so, as long as there are people who remember and cherish it, Irish stew will remain not just a meal, but a story, a tale of Ireland itself, served one bowl at a time. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe to History of Food for more fascinating stories behind the foods we love. Thank you for watching.